Question: Are there many individuals in each species? Answer: The great St. Thomas would have it that there is only one angel of every species, thus showing forth the magnificence of the designs and the perfection of this wonderful work of God. This is not the opinion commonly held, however. Nearly all the rest of the schoolmen hold the opposite opinion. St. Augustine finds an unanswerable argument in the fact of the condemnation of the angels, for he says, quote, "If each angel constituted a separate and distinct species, then numerous separate and distinct species were condemned to hell, and lost absolutely and forever to heaven, which can hardly be thought of, whereas, if there were several individuals of each species, there would still be representatives of each species in heaven." End quote. With our notions of things earthly, it appears rather to harmonize that there should be many members of each species, than that each angel should constitute a distinct species. Cardinal Newman, in his Grammar of Assent, without, however, giving any adhesion to the doctrine, says, quote, "The angels have been considered by the divines to have each of them a species to himself, and we may fancy each of them so absolutely sui similis as to be like nothing else." End quote. Father Faber, in his work All for Jesus, says very beautifully, quote, "Scripture teaches us a great deal about the angels, their worship of God, their ministries towards other creatures, their individual characters, as in the case of Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, their multitude, and their 9 choirs by names. Some theologians have thought that each angel is a species of himself, which would, indeed, open out quite an overwhelming view of the magnificence of God. Others, with more show of reason, make 27 species, 3 in each choir, as there are 3 choirs in each hierarchy, and even this gives us amazing ideas of the court of heaven, when we remember how hard it is for us to conceive of any further specific division of reasonable creatures than into those with bodies and those purely spiritual." End quote. The natural life of the angels. We know what the natural life of man consists in. He breathes, his heart beats, his blood circulates, he eats and he drinks, he sleeps and he walks about, he thinks, reasons, acts. Now, in what does the life, the natural life of the angels consist? In 4 things: in the exercise of the intellect, the exercise of the will, the interchange of thought, and the power of acting. This is the teaching of the divines. The angels, by the natural power belonging to them as angels, can know God, can know themselves, one another, and finally the soul of man. They know God. God was their first beginning, their last end, and his knowledge was the primary and chief object to which the powers of their intellect were to be turned. They know themselves. That is simply what we understand by being alive. They know the other angels, as being fellow citizens of the heavenly city. They know the human soul, as forming a portion, like themselves, of God's vast creation. Question: Can the angels know, and do they know, all the material things of this world? Answer: Yes, they know all the material world. They know the mineral world and all its properties, such as geology, for example, teaches, but in an indefinitely higher degree than geologists know it. They know the vegetable world and all its varied and different properties also, flowers and shrubs and trees and vegetables and mosses. They know the firmament world. All the astronomy teaches about the suns and the stars, their motions, their orbits, their substances. They know all about the animal world and its equally diversified creatures, their formation, their habits, modes of life, from the microscopic animalcula to the Lord of the creation, man. God gave them this knowledge, and it may be said of them that if they did not know these things at one glance, they would have a curiosity, as being members of creation, to know these things which formed other parts of the same creation as they were.